What's going on, guys? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, we are breaking down the Eagles Senior Bowl targets, our favorites from the week of practices and the Senior Bowl game. We're also talking NFL free agency as we continue. Ryan and I got some of our favorite Eagles free agent targets to break down. And then we're going to talk a little Joel Embiid and really bring the show from here to here with excitement and optimism as we finish it up. But as always, give my man Ryan Reese a follow at Philly Sports PSA. What's good, Ryan?
Not much, man. Excited to talk a little, draft prospects. A little. What's up, Daniel? Always first in, buddy. I appreciate that. And some free agent targets because again, Senior Bowl, we're done. We learned a lot, and now we don't really have a lot to kind of garner until we get to the scouting combine out in the end of February, beginning of March. And I mean, so we have a solid couple of weeks here where it's just gonna kind of be a weird speculation on draft and this person and that person. So so what better time than to break down some free agency and draft stuff?
Absolutely, man. We have Rufus in the house, and the boys are back on Broadway. Welcome home. Thanks for joining, Rufus. Thanks for joining, Daniel. If you're watching us live, please be sure to like. Please be sure to subscribe wherever you're watching. Comment with us. Let us know your favorite draft and free agent targets for the Eagles as we get talking about the Birds and get ready to talk about the Sixers. We do have the Sixers game on here as the Sixers are going down hard here in the second half against the Dallas Mavericks. But let's start with the Philadelphia Eagles and the NFL Draft and Senior Bowl. We're going to start off with our biggest winners from the week of practices. I'll lead us off. My number one guy, of course, it's got to be Quintin Mitchell. He was absolutely sensational in so many respects. I mean, this is a guy that is now being talked about as CB1, which is a little crazy, not going to lie. But he was the top defensive player all week long, locking down wide receivers left and right. He had an interception. He showcased everything you want to see in an outside corner. He had a really nice 4-year career at Toledo. He's got really good field vision, really good anticipation, really good awareness, top-tier physical tools, showcasing everything you want out of a CB1 on the boundary. He's a ball hawk, just a massively successful week there in Mobile. Quintin Mitchell, man. What are your thoughts on Quintin Mitchell?
Yeah, listen, I think I've been pretty solid on my stance. I don't believe the Eagles are going to be taking a corner, but I feel like if there is a situation, it's that round one. And there are a couple of really nice guys, and Mitchell I think fits kind of right where we're going to be at 22. And I have heard a little CB1 talk, which again is a little nuts, but hey, things change. It's crazy these rankings sometimes, but I think that's probably the best case scenario for the Eagles to grab a corner and kind of get a solid starter, learn under Slay. Slay again, probably not long for the Eagles. And listen, that's who I have in my first 1.0 mock draft. So I have them taking Mitchell. So I like him. I like him a lot.
And I want to make it clear, like, it's not like he just came out of nowhere. Like, he was a first rounder, like back end of first rounder, heading into this thing. He's just there are some other guys I'm going to talk about tonight that are really raising their draft stock. But he's not one of them. Like, he's definitely climbing, but he's not, some, D3 prospect. So let's go into your favorite Senior Bowl target.
Yeah, so I thought it was a pretty easy one for me, and we talked about it on our post game. Cedric Gray, a linebacker from the University of North Carolina. He also had a really outstanding week in practices. Um, Mitchell unfortunately didn't actually play, but Gray was out there, and man, he was making some absolute plays, showcasing his athleticism, his vertical. I mean, there was that one play where he was uh, you thought the pass was made perfectly over his head, and man, he got to another level and jumped up and tipped it away. So yeah, he really does kind of have a nice uh, uh, a build. Seems to have great instincts, a good mind for where he needs to be, and he showcased that at the Senior Bowl. I think he definitely, really, really improved his draft stock, and should be a guy that the Eagles look at, honestly. And again, if they're not, the Eagles aren't huge into getting a first or second round linebacker, I think he could easily be had in the third round range and come and hopefully rebuild this linebacking core.
Please.
For the
Please.
love of
It can only go up. One more real quick before we get into free agents. I thought Darius Robinson was one of the feel-good stories of the Senior Bowl. 6'5", 296 pounds. He's an edge rusher, but he's got great positional versatility. He played 4 years at defensive tackle before last year moving to the edge. This guy had 42 pressures, 27 run stops. He had 8.5 sacks. He had a lot of production there in 2023. So this is a guy that I feel like went from probably day 3, day 2 to probably day 1. And just he made a lot of money, man. If you haven't already, go check out my Senior Bowl winners video, which has highlights of him dominating. But this guy has, besides the size, he has a crazy elite length, very good explosiveness. He's a tools guy. But what's important to know about Darius Robinson is he thrives at defending the run. He's a great run stopper. And we know the Eagles need more of that. And I know. Why would the Eagles draft an edge rusher in the first 3 rounds? That's a huge topic of conversation. Safety, linebacker, corner, those are the top 3. But if he's there round 2, end of round 2, round 3, there's definitely going to be a conversation. Yeah, it's not going to.
If he's sitting there at the beginning of round 3, my God, trade up and get that man. I mean, listen, we talked about
you need to get younger regardless.
Right. Well, that's one of the main things of how we're going to fix this Philadelphia Eagles team. We need to get quicker. We need to get younger, and we need to add skill position players. But this is definitely edge is definitely a need. I mean, we talked about it at nauseum. It seems like almost outside of Sweat and Reddick, who are you really relying on? I mean, the whole defense is based on this rotation that we've always had, and who are you relying on outside of those guys? I mean, Brandon Graham. Come on, we all love Brandon Graham, and we hope he re-signs and finishes out his career here. But come on, I don't think he's really going to be giving us too much. Yeah. And we need to add some players to that. We already fixed the interior defensive line with some youth and some size and power with Carter and Davis. And hopefully, some of the guys underneath them can step up and really form a really nice rotation. I think D tackle is probably the most complete rotation that we have on defense, but you need edge guys still. So the drop off is also severe. So I think Robinson, he got himself into that tier before the drop off. Yep. So if he's gonna fall to you and you're sitting with that 54th pick and he's sitting there, unless Crowder's on the board, I'm taking Robinson.
Yeah, he's definitely a really good talent. Let's roll on to one quick mention before we roll on to free agency. I do want to bring up Roman Wilson. who had a really good week.
Yeah.
In a class of like just unbelievable wide receiver prospects and depth, crazy depth. Roman Wilson was arguably the biggest winner all week long, creating separation off the line. He made Quintin Mitchell on one play look really silly. So Roman Wilson, not a lot of physicality, not a lot of size, not a lot of play strength, will most likely be put into that slot position at the next level. But he's a great ball tracker. He's a great deep field threat. So I'm really interested in see what he could look like as a wide receiver 3. And the Eagles need those kind of guys. So Roman Wilson's another name to watch out for. Let's roll on to our next segment. And guys, before we get into this, we started putting some of these targets into our shorts. Guys that we think you should know about that would fit with the Philadelphia Eagles. So we already did Patrick Queen, Blake Cashman, and the guy I did. Who the heck was that?
Sneed.
Darius Sneed. So go check that out. We're going to talk about 2 others. Rob couldn't be here today. He's at the Sixers game. That sucks to be him.
Yeah.
He's getting blown out right now.
They went to a game where they won.
All right. But let's get into, Ryan, your another one of your favorite Eagles targets in free agency.
Yeah, listen, we talked about the needs for this team, and Dibes, I think both you and I can agree that safety has to be the number one need for this team. And what better way than one of the most underrated safeties, I think, that exists in the NFL right now, and that's Cameron Curl. This guy is an absolute playmaker, and I feel like he just never really got his just due. That Washington defense was filled with flashy first rounders, and this guy wasn't that, and just kind of did his job and did it pretty well. And honestly, he gave the Eagles a lot of problems, playing for the Commanders. So I think this is kind of one of those, obviously there's, probably, higher rated targets at safety, but this is kind of a guy that, if you're not wanting to spend a ton of money, this guy can come in and absolutely rebuild that safety room with Reed Blankenship, and eventually, when we get Sidney Brown back. But, can you imagine if you added a Cameron Curl and then drafted a Cameron Kitchens?
Yeah. I'm all in.
I mean,
all in, baby.
You have an opportunity to flip not only the safety room, but the linebacker room in one offseason and by 2 moves in each position. You draft a guy, you sign a guy. And I think for the Eagles, it's imperative that they sign a guy and draft a guy within those first 3 picks that they have and get somebody decent. And I think they're wanting to save a little bit of money. Cameron Curl will absolutely outplay his contract for sure.
Absolutely love Cam Curl. He's always been underrated, man. We've been talking about him as Eagles fans for the last couple of years, man. Super underrated. It's just going to be a safety show because I'm going to talk about Gino Stone. This guy is one of the younger safety prospects, not prospects, but players in this year's free agency class. He finished 2023 with 7 picks. That was good for second best in the NFL. His evolution has been really interesting. This guy had only 1 offer from a Power 5 school in Iowa back in high school. Then he was the 5th pick of the 7th round in 2020 to nearly being the interception king of the NFL, which is nothing short of remarkable, man. Like this was his first season playing in a full-time role in defense. And he boasted an 84.9 coverage grade during the regular season, which was 7th best among his peers in the NFL per PFF. He allowed 27 receptions on 42 targets this season and allowed just 2 touchdowns. The knocks on Gino Stone is that, he doesn't play a lot in the box. He doesn't play a lot in the slot. He's not a good run defender. He's not a good tackler. In fact, he missed 19% of his tackle opportunities this year, which is not great. His best fit on the Eagles would be like as a nickel safety, a guy that can be an eraser on the back end, to kind of make quarterbacks think twice before throwing deep. I do not need to remind people about how many explosive plays the secondary gave up this past season for the Birds. This season might be an outlier for Gino Stone, but you look at this guy, he's only 24 years old. And given the Ravens' lack of cap flexibility and, Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton, like this guy looks like he's on the way out with the Ravens. If the Eagles are looking to save money and get younger in the defensive backfield, I think Gino Stone would be a nice addition, man. Just some guy to know if they kind of miss out on some of the top names. So Gino Stone for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, absolutely. I think him and Curl are certainly guys that they are going to hopefully target. Again, if they're not either they swing and miss at the top guys, or they're not interested in spending that big money, and they're looking more to supplement the position with the draft pick in one of these guys. But yeah, I think imperative to grab one of these guys if you're not going after the big names.
Yep. All right, let's roll into our last topic. And what should the Sixers do at the NBA trade deadline, man? Just what a depressing state for the Philadelphia 76ers. What does Daryl Morey do? Does he buy? Does he sell? With Joel Embiid's injury completely up in the air and his return, it's a tough spot. And I have my take. It's not going to be a popular one, but I don't care. I'm going to let you go first, Ryan.
Awesome. Well, thanks for setting me up for that. But yeah, listen, I think the question ultimately is how long is Embiid going to be truly out? And if this is one of those things where hey, listen, we can get him back right before the end of the season, get him, I don't know how many games you need to kind of warm him up. But if that's the case, then I say go get a guy. You don't need to break the bank for whoever. But listen, you have a lot of draft picks. You have a couple of bench players that I'm sure you could throw. Maybe not anybody too terribly important, but I kind of am in the mindset of, listen, this is your last year with Toby. Somehow, if you can get rid of that contract, whatever, do whatever you got to do. But ultimately, if you can add a piece, a starter, great. If that's not out there, then add a bunch of bench pieces. Go grab an actual center. We haven't had a decent backup center since Andre Drummond. So yeah, listen, I say do what you got to do, because if you just sit on your hands and do nothing, it just shows you're not, Daryl Morey is not committed to making this thing work, or they know something's a lot worse for Embiid. So either way, not not something you want to say. So be active, go get somebody.
All right, here's where we lose all of our viewers. Here we go. The Sixers 1000% should sell. And I'm not talking about trading Joel Embiid. They keep Joel Embiid. But they need to look to get every single freaking asset this team can before this season's over, and look to retool this offseason. That includes trading to Tobias, maybe to the Pistons for whatever you can get. That means trading all the vets on this roster like DeAnthony Melton. If you can get value and decent picks, get it done. That includes Kelly Oubre. That includes everybody. If you can get value, you do it. And at this point, you look for other teams that have wings that are buried on the bench. And I'm talking about young wings. Daryl Morey should be hyper-focused on playing the kids, developing them in the short amount of time he has the remainder of the season. Guys that, Killian Hayes, guys that aren't really succeeding with their current environment. Give me Jaden Springer, Terquavion Smith, Ricky Council, as many minutes as possible. Let them play around Tyrese Maxey as much as possible. Let's see what they got. Dude, that's where we should be at. And I don't know if even Joel Embiid coming back moves the needle. I think this team is flawed. I think they. I don't want to get into the same scenario we were the last several years. I want to be setting this team up for success, and I think they have a rare opportunity to do that given the cap space that's going to be leaving. Um, so for me, I am looking to double down on focusing on 2024, 2025, rebuilding around Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, getting as many picks as possible. There's nobody that's available right now, like a Caruso or a Levine who's out for the year, or like nobody's out there right now that's going to seriously move the needle on
Yeah, probably right.
for the Sixers. Maybe with more assets, if someone becomes available, then you go there. But the Sixers need to get younger. They need to start playing these kids, and they need to see what they got. And that would be my plan. And I know that's not what the Sixers are going to do. They're 100% not doing that. But that's what I would do.
So you want the Sixers to basically punt on this year?
I want them to tank the rest of the season. And I don't think that's even going to be difficult. They just lost by nearly 20 to the Mavs.
Yeah.
This team is bad. This is a bad basketball team without Embiid.
Is there any decent?
There it is, Rufus.
Oh, jeez. I was going to say, is there anybody that NBA free agent wise next year that's intriguing? Should we have the constraints or
the big name is like Paul George?
Yeah, I see Pascal Siakam.
Siakam went to the Pacers.
Did he?
I imagine he's going to resign there.
Oh, yeah, man.
And Anunoby went to the Knicks.
Yeah, same.
So there's not a lot of options out there, man. So that's why I'm saying, like, tank, get the best draft pick as possible, get multiple picks. Again, I am not trading Joel Embiid. I want to say that 2 more times. We're not trading Embiid. We're not trading Embiid. But what we're doing is, this is the one offseason, they have a rare opportunity where they have picks, they have flexibility, they have options, capitalize on that, and maybe there's better options around the corner.
Yeah, or again, maybe not even free agent wise, just being able to trade. Yeah, well, listen, it's not the craziest idea in the world, unfortunately, given the state of everything, and given the fact that there's, unfortunately, there's nobody really left, as you said, to kind of trade for, to kind of help this team. I thought this team was rolling pretty good when everybody was healthy, and they had a really nice rotation, and I think Nurse has really kind of set themselves up. But if Embiid's going to be out for 2 months, maybe more.
Here's my devil's advocate. Can I be a devil's advocate? And this is where we lose even more viewers. As fun as the 70-point game was, as fun as it's been to watch Embiid dominate, what was the main takeaway from last year? Do you remember? It was Embiid needs a smaller workload on offense. His usage rate is as high as it's ever been in his entire career.
Sure has, yeah.
He's playing as many minutes as he did last year.
Yeah.
Is he being put into? Yes, he's being put into areas to succeed. But the big picture, the big picture is what I'm kind of referring to.
Well, yeah, I mean, his health for the playoffs is he clearly slowly breaks down throughout the year, and by the time playoffs happen, he gets bumped, and it turns into a broken face or a twisted knee or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like, little things turn into bigger things when your body is not able to handle it. So yeah, I mean, honestly, you're not wrong, and I kind of am. I'm kind of in this mindset of like, Listen, he already won an MVP. That was fun. But listen, play half the damn games. Do what you got to do. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's get a top 3 seed, and then go from there. And then be healthy for the playoffs. Have somebody besides Maxey to help offensively in the playoffs. And that might just be all that it takes is a fresh Embiid, another option that's better than Tobias. That might be what gets them into a conference finals or an NBA final.
Yep. All right. What? Just an amazing topic to end the show on. But that's honestly my thoughts. Is
Yeah,
they have a rare opportunity finally to kind of retool this roster.
yeah,
This
it's like a reset. Yeah, I think that they have, they
just
get
like
rid
a
of
soft reset, and we come out with, wow, the Sixers have more ammo to make moves than any other team in the NBA this offseason, with the most cap space, with tons of assets and picks, first rounders, second rounders. That's what I would do. Maybe, and then you get like a lottery pick, like a wing or a ball handler or a young big to back up. I don't know, but that was, and it's never going to happen. Let me also say, Daryl Morey is never going to do that. He's going to try and reshape this roster right now.
Most likely.
At least I think so. But anyway, Ryan, final thoughts. Let's wrap it up.
Hey, listen, you know me. I will always talk NBA draft or NFL draft and NFL free agency. This is my favorite time of year outside of the actual football season. But yeah, listen, there is only one place that you need to be, and that's Edge of Philly Sports for all of your draft needs. I'm telling you, this guy over here has so many scouting reports ready to go already. If you don't know where to start, head on over to the YouTube page. There's a little thing for the NBA or for the NFL draft. You can slide in there, start watching a few prospect videos, top 10 rankings, whatever it is, you'll find your way. But just dive in a little bit, join us, and then when we do our shows, man, you can throw some insights, and it's great. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have the combine coming up next month in probably about 4 weeks. So that's the kind of next big thing for the draft. Other than that, check us out all over Edge of Philly Sports YouTube. Tomorrow we got Birds of the Round Table. And we'll probably do another rankings. We do got to get the running backs and the quarterbacks in. And then, of course, my normal show, Football Smack Talk shows on Mondays at 6. And then, of course, Party on Broad every Monday at 9. So make sure you're tuned in, locked in. Put on those automatic notifications so that you know exactly when we go live. So you can come join us, be part of the action, and comment with us.
Absolutely. I've got 5 scouting reports dropping tomorrow morning. Dallin Holker and Eric All, 2 tight ends. Yep. And then that'll wrap up the tight end position. And then I've got 2 interior offensive linemen, Christian Mahogany and Javion Cohen, 2 interior offensive linemen. That'll wrap up the interior offensive lineman position for me. And then, of course, we already talked about him, but Darius Robinson, edge rusher out of Missouri, will be dropping tomorrow as well. And then tomorrow night at 8, we'll be doing, for Birds of the Round Table, revisiting our preseason prop bets and predictions and things like that. Show it's the best show of the year. So highly recommend you come back tomorrow night at 8:00 East Coast time, where we revisit how wrong we were, how right we were. It's all a lot of fun.
Probably, yeah. I feel like we were all pretty wrong about this season, weren't we?
No, yes. Phil from Trending in the AM will be joining us tomorrow. It'll be a party. There'll probably be a lot of alcohol, I'm sure. It's gonna, yeah. Everyone's gonna be putting the check tomorrow. It's gonna be great. So be sure to check out Birds of the Round Table tomorrow night. One last time, here's Ryan Reese. Give him a follow on X at Philly Sports PSA. I'm Dives, Mr. Crockpot. For Ryan, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.